Okay. Oh, gotta get my gear on. Gotta get my gear on straight. All right, I'm about to go 4 miles through that terrain right there. As you can see, this road is closed off to motorized vehicles, so I'm gonna park the four-wheeler there, head out. I do have lots of gear on me because I'm gonna take my drone to see if I can get some additional footage. And as I tell you that I'm going to take my drone, I'm still trying to decide whether or not I really want to, because I don't know if I want the extra weight. I always like it when I see bear scat, bear poop along the trail, especially if it's fresh. You know, makes me feel really safe. I'm just kind of joking around. The black bears in Colorado, it's not that big of a deal, you know. But still, when you're by yourself, you know, makes you a little nervous. And not a big thing, but most of the time they just run off. They run from you. When I'm out doing these things, I'm actually more worried about mountain lions than I am black bears. But last guy killed by a mountain lion was like over 30 years ago, so I don't think I have a lot to worry about. Like I said, black bears, they're not really, it's not like they're hunting you. You just don't want to startle them too much. A lot of times when you're hiking these old trails, you come across kind of a blowdown, what I call a blowdown situation, where some wind came through and knocked out a bunch of trees all in the same direction right there on the trail, which causes you to have to go up and around. That's where you got to be careful not to lose your bearings, make sure you don't get lost. Okay, so just thought of something else to share. Hopefully the audio's coming through on this all right. So, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm out here on this old trail, right? But I mean, I don't know. The last time somebody hiked it was probably a hunter, right? Not like normal hiker people. Like, for example, you can see how it's all overgrown right there. My point of this comment was going to be, you know, this is not your typical Boulder, Colorado. I live in Boulder, and I'm going to go on a hike where there's a bunch of people, and you see people on the trail, and people have their little dogs on the trail and stuff like that. Like, that's not what this is. So, some of the things I talk about with safety and things, it's because this is not like a trail where, in fact, it's probably not even on those apps. You know those apps called like All Trails and different apps like that, where like normal hiking people go? That's not what this is. This is actually an old forest road that has been closed off to vehicles, motorized vehicles. So who uses it is like hunters and hardcore backpackers and things like myself. It's not your, like, you know, I live in Boulder and you're like, oh honey, let's go for a little hike today. That's not one of these. And sometimes, every once in a while, I'll see, you know, somebody from Denver or Boulder or something try to come out to Wyoming, and every once in a while I'll see them in their Jeeps, and they'll be holding their little paper maps and thinking they're gonna go on a hike, and I see them get out of their car and get ready, and they got like flip-flops on and shorts, and you know, they got no equipment or anything to protect themselves. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, you have no idea what you're doing. You're used to going on your little safe trails where you see people The only person you're going to see up here is either a black bear, a mountain lion, a fox, a psycho person that's out here, or maybe a hunter, right? So what's my point? I guess my point is, I see some of these people come out from the city thinking, you know, they're gonna just hike around with no safety precautions or first aid kits or anything, and that's not a good idea. It's not a good idea. Same thing with ATVing up in forest roads in Wyoming and northern Colorado. You know, every once in a while I'll see, way back on a back road, I'll see a little family on a couple of ATVs, and they got nothing with them, you know. I'm thinking, okay, yeah, let me know how that goes when you break down about 12 miles from nowhere and nobody comes along. 7 o'clock at night. Let me know how that works out. It's just me ranting, but I see people come out unprepared all the time. Not a good idea. That's how people get lost and hurt. So, like I said, I'll do a post in a little bit about some of the equipment I take when I go out by myself. You know, the other thing I was going to mention on safety is, you know, the whole topic of the gray wolves introduction back into Colorado. Super sensitive political, social issue, which I'm not going to give you my opinion on, but I will say this. I'm up in Wyoming right now. And, you know, northern Colorado and southern Wyoming is actually where some of the gray wolves have been spotted by ranchers and things like that. So, does that make me a little more nervous being by myself? Yes. The answer is yes. You know, chances of being hurt are super slim, obviously. And to date, no human being has been attacked or hurt that I know of since wolves have started to be spotted. In fact, I think it's just now, the introduction officially is just now getting started. I don't know all the details. But my point is, do I think about that when I'm out here by myself a little bit? Yeah, I do. Do I also think about the stories that I've seen where a few grizzlies have been spotted coming down from Montana into northern Wyoming, which is far from me, so nothing to worry about. But I mean, I don't know. It's, you know, it makes you a little, kind of makes you, you know, your mind starts to wander as you're out here hiking by yourself a little bit. Sorry for the glare of the sun, but my point was going to be, my point is, yeah, you know, start thinking about some of that stuff, and that's why I am overly cautious, especially if I'm solo hiking and camping. I will give you a list of equipment that I use when I go, and I get set down up here. Okay, not my favorite situation, so see what I'm up against here. This is all been blown down on this old trail years and years ago. Try to get a shot of it all. This is where you got to kind of be careful. By the way, here's something I haven't talked about on this little journey so far. Show you this. So one thing also you got to be super careful with is what they call widowmaker trees. These trees that are dead. I don't know, hopefully you can see that. If the wind's blowing too much, they can fall down. As you can see, they fall down all the time. In fact, I think more people are killed by falling trees in Colorado than animals. Pretty sure. Look that up. Double check me on that. So you got to be careful with that too when the wind's blowing. Here's another tip. Something I try to do when I'm out here walking along these rocks and these boulders and things. Well, I'm trying to keep my eyes open for wildlife, you know, so I can snap some pictures and things. I'm also trying to be super careful where I step. I read this article where a guy my age, he's in his mid-50s, he was out hiking solo, experienced hiker too, snapped his leg, and he believe it or not, he was an experienced hiker, so he had a satellite phone. But his satellite phone was in this backpack where he had some water, and the water had opened up and shorted out the phone. So couldn't call anybody, and he was about 10 miles out. And he had to scoot on his bottom with his hands 10 miles over, I think, 2.5 days or something like that. I think a couple of nights he had to spend, you know, on his bottom, scooting around way back in the forest. And he was talking about how, you know, at nighttime was a little scary and cold. Anyway, because of that, I carry not only a satellite phone, but I carry an emergency beacon that I have. If I press it, helicopters come, you know? Well, supposedly anyway. After I read that story, I thought, yeah, I don't want that to happen to me. Anyway, what was my point? Oh, my point is I try to be super careful where I step, because you sprain an ankle or snap your ankle or something, it's not going to be good. One of the things I think is pretty cool is, and a lot of people might think this is boring, I don't know. You know, I've been walking up this trail which is way overgrown. Give you a little shot of what I'm talking about. Anyway, there was a trail here, it's on the map, but it's way overgrown. Anyway, one of the things I like, and I'm sure many people would find this super silly or boring, but I love it when I'm on one of these trails, nobody's been back here for years and years, and I come across what would be an old fire pit that somebody had. No telling how many years ago that fire pit was used, but pretty cool. Just a little history, I guess. I don't know. A little bit silly, but by the way, I have my hiking pack, my satellite phone. I got all kinds of safety gear and things in here, and I got my utility belt on with, you know, hunting knives and water and things like that. I also got my walking cane. It's got a little compass on it from walkingcanes.com, by the way. Anyway, beautiful mid-morning in Wyoming, and just running down the trail. I figure this is a decent place to pull over and have a little lunch. Not sure if you can hear me, if my audio's okay, but I'm just gonna chill right here. Hey, check out this trail. Wow. Believe it or not, this is on the map, but yeah, okay. By the way, I use Onyx Off-Road. So they also have Onyx Hunting GPS. You can download all the stuff before you leave the house, and then when you're offline up in the mountains, you can still see where you're going. And if it wasn't for that app, I would be totally lost right now. So, I'm going to drive down the road, and I'm going to do one more trail today. All right, so I just got back up here on this trail that's clear after having to go through about, I don't know, 2.5 miles, 3 miles of pretty rough forest. The GPS said there was a trail out there, but if there was, it's a long time ago. It's not really buggy out here, but put my net on because the damn flies were getting on my nerves. But anyway, yeah, so what was my message going to be? I don't know. I'm trying to remember. I was going to say something really strategic. I'm trying to remember what it is. I think it's, yeah, I know what it is. Cholesterol, weight, blood pressure, even. All things us 50-year-olds have to worry about. So, I'm trying to make sure I get my exercise. I prefer to do that outside if I can, and at least in the spring, summer, and fall. And so, yeah, I've been, I don't know, a total of 5 miles so far today. Probably. Both hikes. Which doesn't seem like a long way, but if you're going uphill and you're at 9,000, 10,000 feet and you're going uphill and through the woods, 5 miles is a long way. I got about 2.5 miles left back to the ATV, but it should be easy trail and a little bit downhill, so I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so I'll give you a little tour. I don't think I've done one of these in a few years. Made it back to my ATV, my four-wheeler, which I usually park at the beginning of a trail. Again, I'm probably overkill, as I have mentioned, but let me just give you a little tour of all the stuff that I use. So first of all, I have this USB plug for my phone charger, charges up things. That's very handy. I have this compartment, compass over here. I got all kinds of things in here. First aid kit, bug spray, sunscreen, flashlight, binoculars, a little thing to air up my tire if it goes flat. I got a tire repair kit. I have an additional GPS unit right here, backcountry GPS unit that I use besides Onyx on my phone sometimes. Flashlights, extra hat, gloves, all kinds of emergency equipment basically. And I have an extra compartment here where I carry water and coats and gloves. Pack myself a little lunch right there. Rain gear. This is my drone, my flying drone unit. Extra hats and gloves. I got a hand saw back there. Extra gloves and hats and things on that side. This is a gas tank holder. I didn't bring my extra gas tank today. Shovel, axe that I use in case I need to get out of that or get around a tree or something. Chainsaw, and I have 2 batteries for this chainsaw in my four-wheeler. A little bear spray that I carry handy right there. And then on myself, this is my hiking bag, which has whistles, flare guns, first aid kit, fire starting equipment or fire starting supplies, extra phone battery charger, one of those blankets that you can cover up with if you got stuck out in the cold, all kinds of stuff. And then I carry my sat phone, Also, like I've said, when I'm out in the wilderness, I'm probably overly cautious with, by the way, sunscreen for your nose, bug spray for your face. But I'm probably overly cautious with protective gear because I'm solo. So, you know, I don't know if you can see, but I carry my hunting knife and my firearm, my sidearm. And when I'm way back in the woods, I carry my GPS unit. I have a utility pack that I have some emergency stuff in, bug spray, things like that. Bear spray, I mean, sorry. So I know some of the family members that I have in Oklahoma that watch some of my stuff, you're always worried about me, which I appreciate, by the way, but I'm super careful. I try to be overly cautious. Like I said, in some of these videos I've made, a lot of people come out to the wilderness and they don't bring anything. If you're with a bunch of people, I guess that's fine. If you're close to the main road, that's fine. But if you're going to go solo, way back in the woods, off trail, for a couple hours, you should probably be careful. And I usually am. By the way, I also have my Garmin tactical watch, which has a compass and all kinds of stuff on it, weather reports and things like that.